Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I, of course, let me quickly do that. Forgot to send out on my social media that I'm streaming, so let me quickly fix that. And then I need the channel link. Game Engine. All right. All right. Good, good, good. I don't think we necessarily need it in Discord. All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Let's do today a little bit more something relaxing, as like, yeah, I had like work today, of course. I don't know, I don't want to do like something super exhausting today. Tomorrow is a day off where I'm living, so we will stream tomorrow in the afternoon, but because it's basically like a weekend. So most likely we will start there again with the volumetric terrain. And today it's a little bit more, I mean, it's a busy work, more or less. I mean, it's a good change. But yesterday and Monday, I basically went over and tried to write a generic serializer that we can use for, and it's format independent, in the sense that I have a bunch of base functions in this class, which is called the serializer, with a bunch of templates that just forwards the logic then down to basically those virtual functions, which are the main virtual functions that I need to serialize anything. So basically we have all the base integer types, and we have string serialization, and we as well have integer values with different bases, so base 10, base 16 for hex, and octal for yeah, base 8 basically. We probably will have to add today floats as well, because we don't have any float serialization here, which is definitely a problem. But so far in the one case where I tested it, I didn't need floats yet. But when we do that today, we will definitely need that if we move this to other systems. So yeah, one place where I already implemented that is in input action serializer. So here we now have a JSON serializer, and that got like way simpler compared to what it was before. I can show the diff. Well, actually I think I can do it here, right? No, because it's not in that repository directly. But if we look at that here, so the old one was basically looping over, where is it? So yeah, here looping over the JSON items and then calling here basically serialize with a JSON object on the context, and that got replaced with just a read here. And there's the same here, so basically this loop here that we did before, looping over the JSON, creating actions and blah blah blah, all got boiled down to so we can get rid of that. Got all boiled down to, so we have here the input action map, right? We read, and then that reads actions, and we have here the action, and we just read out our ID, our type, And then we read our bindings, and that goes in here and reads out the bindings. So that's pretty straightforward and very, very simple. And everything with like collections is handled in the background. And this works for binary as well, because yeah, it doesn't really matter what the format is. And we have like this syntax here where the name of the attribute is the is a compiled time string. The main reason I did that, and I'm not sure if I will keep it like that, is that for binary I can completely ignore it and then I don't have any runtime cost for that. In theory, at least that's my understanding, but I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I did a quick performance test. It's really quick to do that serialization currently. There is not a lot of magic going on that would slow it down. So, yeah. Yeah, this one we cannot, right? We need the runtime support here because we don't know the binding name. And here as well, but here we can again do that. All right. Did we change all of them? More or less, yeah. Okay. I think maybe in string ID I still have old ones. No, I as well have those. Okay, cool. So let's move a couple of other ones over, because that's basically what I would want. So, and then do we do that already or do we do that later? Maybe we do it already. So we take that, and here we just take a serializer in, and here we take a serializer in. And that's basically all we need. And then I can kill those, and we will have a bunch of issues everywhere. Maybe I split the serializer and deserializer. I am not sure about that yet. Currently they are in the same interface. I thought about doing that, but I'm not sure if I really want to do that. So then this is fine, right? Yeah. Perfect. There is one issue that I can imagine. But let's see. Let's hit compile and see where it breaks, which is basically in every asset. Oh yeah, and not only asset. So then here we need to do chase serializer. We will change that. And then here, let's load. So we basically take what we have here. Yes, yes, yes. Stop it. Why is that here? Come on. Thank you. No, not serialize. It's this. Don't think I need that. Do I need the JSON or JSON value? Okay, JSON. Then we forward here the serializer. And then in the save, we kinda do the same, but we don't. So basically we do a serializer, we initialize it like that. And we do that. And we do this. Is it not JSON root? Oh, it is JSON root. Okay, cool. That works. And then we write that out. And we assume that this works for now, which is a little bit naive, but... And we have like a bunch of errors everywhere, which is great. So let's fix that first, because that's just serializer. That one is the easiest one. Serializer. And then, I mean, basically we take that line, move that here, remove that. Yeah, that is a little bit... So, can we get that? I don't think we have that information. Yeah, maybe we give it in the deserialize. Maybe we give the asset meta with it. I think we can have that as cons because we don't really want to control that in any sense. Path. Although, I mean, that can't happen, right? We do that. Actually, just that, probably. Let's give the meta here as well. Even though we might not use it. And then we have this gone. Yeah, let's do. Although I'm not sure if we are really not using that. All right. Wait, what is metadata, please? Thank you. And we don't need that anymore. I think. Cool. Maybe we do struct asset metadata. I'm not sure. Why not? All right. So we have that. And then this one should be fine now. Famous last words. And then let's address all of the ones that we kind of broke now. Which is unfortunately a lot. Texture serializer. That one is even not used currently. I think. Or is it? I'm not sure actually. Can I do that? Yeah. So I'm not sure if that one is used. As soon as... I mean, maybe it's used. I actually don't think we are using that. I would be surprised if you use that. Because isn't that... I mean, maybe we did. I'm really not sure if we use that or not. We got an image file based on that. You know what? For now, what we will do is we will keep that. And I do think we will do this. Which is basically we comment that out. Put that in here, take the meta, take the path, and basically go from there. Meta.name, and we don't really care about any of the other stuff for now. Even though that's not very good in that sense, because that should be different, but it's fine for now. We kind of fixed it, right? So that's the main thing. Serialize we don't currently have. We need that because yeah, we want to have our own file format for that. And then that serialize here would make more sense as well. Probably. At least that's my assumption. But let's see. Alright. So that's that. Then we have the render graph serializer. Asset metadata, meta, and then const serializer, deserializer. Then we do that. Yeah, that's a little bit of busy work to do. Yes, as I already said, you can see that it's a little bit painful to do that, but yeah. This one shouldn't be marked const, right? Yeah. We shouldn't do that. Right? I think that was... Yeah, that's just writing out the JSON. We don't do that. Probably don't need that serializer. Probably don't need the meta. So most likely we don't do that. Instead we go over our nodes. Do we need that? Yeah, we do. I mean, We could rewrite that. The render graph is that, right? So we could do input action serializer similar to here. In Onyx we can do a serializer of Onyx graphics render graph. Alright, we don't need Onyx here. Alright, so that's that. So we have that, and then instead of that, we just do here serializer right. Render graph. Now this is return that. And then in serialize we do that part here. Where we get our thing, we get this. We iterate over our nodes. And we say basically serializer right node. Right. And then we get rid of that. If that fails, we return false. Otherwise we continue, and that's it. And then we have another one of those where we basically have this. Yeah, I think so. So that's that. And that. Out render graph node. And then we have here render graph node. Wait for now, get rid of that because I need to look up what we did there. And let's see what else there is. We shouldn't. Ah, that's the deserialize. Hold on. No, we tackle the deserialize later. Let's first fix the serialize. So we do that, and here what we did was where is it? We called node.serialize, which we might still do. just because we don't necessarily... Yeah, I think we will do that. So in here, we basically say out... No, not here. Here we say render graph node serialize serializer. I think. And then this becomes serializer. Although that can be... Yeah, no, let's keep it like that. That's fine, I think. Right, get type ID. I think we need overload, or like we need a specification for that. All right, how do we do that? So in the deserialize, how do we handle that? Oh, it's based on the array, right? Okay. I mean, maybe we just call that, right? What do we do in here in serialize pin? We don't really call anything. Let's flip that and we serialize that like this. And then that is right. Actually, let's do that for both. Right. Like that. Okay. But should write that as that one. You should actually write as a struct. Probably. Hold on, maybe we need the other one as well. Let me think again here. Okay, now here we are already in the object, so we can do that. That's fine. But we might as well. So we need the on-serialize here as an overrideable thing, right? Or do we? I mean, yes, we kind of do, but I don't think we need those. So we can probably take that and probably node graph serializer. Probably it needs to go in here. Because I don't think we have anything specific here. No, we don't. So we could... Because we need to have the node graph anyways here. Right, so we have the node graph somewhere here. So we can do... namespace Onyx. Node. Nope, not node, sorry. Here, that one. Basically, go here, namespace Onyx. That is node graph node. Oops. Yeah, I'm not sure if that works, but we will find out. this one. That's what I wanted. Good. So we do that, and here. I mean, basically maybe we keep that. Or we don't. Maybe I just do that in there. That one is for sure there. Let's return that here. I mean, this one is probably one of the most difficult ones that I just started to refactor, which is like great choice. Because we basically our whole engine runs on those, right? So, but I mean, if I have ported that one, it's 90% done. Alright, so we write out that. I mean, that one is kinda easy because we can probably get all of the stuff here. Serializer, right, input pin. Maybe we do a write add because I don't have an array here. But I want an array basically. So basically I would probably serialize write. Or maybe create scope inputs. right? And then we do serializer and scope here, and that is a little bit special because we don't really have that, and then here we basically write at that index. Let's do that. We don't have that function yet, but we can have that. And then here that is basically the same, right? Outputs. Or do we... Yeah, no, I don't... I think that makes the most sense. Or do we maybe... You know what? Let's do it different. We actually collect an array here. Because then we can do it already. Then I don't need to do anything special here. We reserve that to the input pin count. And then we here do input pins. Push back input pin. Yeah, we can have them as const. It doesn't really matter. And then we do serializer write input pins as inputs. And then we kind of prevented that thing. We do the same here. Output pins. We do output pin count. That. Node graph node. That, and then here output pin. Oh yeah, we need to push that back, right? Because yeah, we basically get that for free. We could do optimization here. If we are a binary format, we can directly write the stuff, but that will be minimal, right? That thing. We could even do an in-place array here, and we limit that to 32, which is already quite big anyways. Then we don't dynamically allocate. And place We need an in-place array thing then here, but we will do that. And then here we need node graph serializer on serialize. And for that we need in node friend class, friend struct serialization of node. And now we have that, perfect. And now on serialize serializer. And then this one is oh my god, what did I do? Holy. Alright, and then what we can do is we can get rid of that, right? Because the one where we have the other one, which is this one, have a deserialize here. Which is fine. We go here and we do another template here where we do that and then struct. Oh, but wait. Yeah, no, that doesn't really work. What did we do in that one? We serialized the node type, which we did as well. Maybe we need to do a virtual call here. Maybe we actually need to have a virtual function here. That's fine. God damn it. Because we can't really know which type we are. So yeah, I think we need that basically here. So we take that back. We have that here, which is fine. But we don't do that, we just do node graph node serialize serializer. And then here we do that instead. That is serializer. And we get rid of all of those, god damn it. And we have that done again, and then here. We don't need that, because that we definitely do outside. And then this one is serializer. And then the serializer read that. read that. And then we don't do that. Basically, we do a dynamic array. Ah, hold on. All right, I mean, that is... Yeah, we need actually, in that case, we kind of need to have the scope. Unless we do something like dynamic array pin base, does that even work? No, right? Because it's an abstract class. Yeah, well. So we need to get the scope. So basically we do that, right? If we can create the scope, then that's fine. And scope. And then we get the item count, I would say. So here we do deserializer, get item count. We have that, or get items count, I'm not sure. No, get item count is fine. Okay, maybe not. Get items count. And then we do that, and we loop over that, and we basically say deserializer create scope. Or like maybe we do a read. No, I do a create scope I. If that is false, then we return false. As we continue and we run until here where we end the scope. And then that one is pretty straightforward. That is a read of the local ID. Then we do that. Then here we do another read of the ID. Yeah, that's like disgusting, not gonna lie. We need to make that nicer. Yeah, I will rename those functions a little bit and then we will do that a little bit nicer. But yeah, we have that one here. Now we have another, is that linked pin? Yeah, it says where I go at 64, right? And then we have that here. And then we do the same with the output pins, which is a little bit weird that we do it like that. I guess we have to, because we can't really generalize that. I mean, I guess I can copy that and just change everything to input, to output. But we can have those outside here. And then this is outputs. That is that. Pin is missing that. Get output pin. And then we do that, and this we rename to output pin. And that's basically it. And then this is serializer, or deserializer. And then we do those and those. We move to public. And then JSON serializer. That and that and that. We move to public. Well, that was not public. That is public. All right. So that's that. Then I thought we have that. So that is then just that basically. And we do the same here, just with the serialize. All right. And then the pin, that one we actually can do in here. Which I of course removed. Because I'm stupid. That's basically that. Do we have the deserialized pin? Oh, okay, no. But in that case, it's like... Does that even help me then? Hold on. Oh yeah, I mean here we write the pins, right? But then here, that doesn't work. Because here we read it manually. So at that point, why am I doing it here like that? I mean, it's fine, I guess. Is it right? Yeah. So that should be that. Actually, hold on. Maybe we do this, right? Does that make sense? Nah, no. Actually, let's keep it like that. Maybe we handle that in the... Maybe we handle that in the serializer. So yeah, actually, let's do that maybe. Because that might actually work. Hold on. It's a little bit sus, but maybe it works. So what we could do is get a gun and in place array. Basically in place. Set all of those. No, that doesn't really help. But then we shouldn't even have the pin base here as a type. I think that then doesn't really help us. We shouldn't have that. So we should most likely do it similar, where we say we create a scope of inputs, and then here we end the scope, And here we enter a scope of I, and we again enter scope. Or do we maybe redefine that? Maybe we create the scope already with the size. Right? So that we can have that. Or would we handle that? I'm thinking of a binary serializer currently, because we would need to write out the length of the array. So probably that makes the most sense, that we create a scope with that. Or like write array or enter array. Let's do enter array. Nah, let's call it enter scope or create scope. And now we have this as the pin thing, which we don't really need anymore. Then we create that. We might actually then as well, now that I think about it, no, let's leave it at that. And then we write out here the thing that we previously did in the node graph serializer. Basically that. Oh, I think I need to stop that music. That's like horrible. So node. All right, and then we can, oh, damn it, no, only that one we need to get rid of. So the end scope and create scope is as well something I want to get rid of eventually, but for now we will leave it like that. Let's add that where we create a scope items count. That one is only when we write, right? Yeah. So it's in this case where we are not const, basically. Right, because here we are not a const serializer, yeah. So we go to the JSON serializer and we implement that. And we don't really care about that in this case. Because for JSON, we don't really care about how many we have. So we basically just do a return create scope with a name, and we don't really care. For JSON, we don't care about the items count. As we don't need to explicitly store it in the output. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we do that, we do this, and then we have that. That should all work in theory. And yeah, then we have that, which is all a little bit ugly that we don't care about the result here. But that's fine for now. I will clean that up. Is it serializer doesn't? Oh, yes. Meta? Do I have it? Do I have the asset meta? I don't have the asset metadata. Well... let's just do that then. Asset name? Whatever, let's basically do the same here. God damn it. Oh, but we don't even have an asset name here. Whatever. I hope we don't need that. Because that is unfortunate. Let's see if we actually need that. So that's that. We can have serializer probably. But what are we even doing here? Where are we calling this? In shader graph. Is that the only use case that we have? Huh. Okay. And then on that we call this, which is another weird ass function. Why are we doing that? What? What? Why do we? Is that material shader graph, right? Material. Oh God. Stop it. Visual Studio, please. Huh. might need that, but we might as well not need that. I mean, I can leave it in. It doesn't really matter. This can be a serializer, right? And this can be a serializer. We do this here. Although this one can be again. Shader graph serializer. It probably can be in namespace Onyx. And now we have node graph serializer. We don't have that. Oh, here. Shader graph. And then we got the graph and we call serialize on that. And then we write out that JSON, which we definitely do already. Oh, and we write out the shader file. Okay, but we can... Yeah, I mean, we get that, right? That this is a serializer. And a const set metadata. And then that one is path, replace that, and we write out our shader here. That's all fine. And then here we get that, and we just say serializer. That should be like that. What? Where is that card? Why did I do it so stupidly? God damn it. Ah, because I see again. Okay. To have a common base, that's why I did it. We can do that. Doesn't matter. Deserializer. Alright, so we have all of that, and then this is serializer, right? graph. And now we get that out here. If that's not a success, we do that, then we do that, and then we save out the shader file, and we are Gucci here. It's not copied anymore. Thank you very much for that wrong assumption. Now we have this one here, and we say deserialize. Then we again do meta.path, and we get the shader, and then here we do deserializer read shader graph. Our graph. Where is the factory used? Don't even use that. Okay. Cool. Then we do all of that, and that's fine. So we use the deserializer, we use the meta. Asset system is used, graphics API is used, graph is used. Perfect. Okay. So we have here. God damn it. Okay, so that one will be deserialize. Get rid of those. So that will be serialize. Const asset metadata, or meta. Serializer. Meta and serializer, and this is shader graph, graphic system, dot, and deserializer, and meta. Yeah. So that's that. Then we get rid of that. All right. Why is that here? node graph serializer. Well, actually, we probably can do node graph here, right? Because we don't really need anything specific here. It's fine, right? Now we can probably do that. So basically, oh, that's node graph. And that's that. Node graph get node, and then we do yeah, basically a serializer of that. So we do serializer. Got serializer right. Node. Right. And now we go again. But that's the right, right? Do I want to do that? That's a little bit, that's a bit, so that's the graph structure, right? Let's see how we do that. Because they're one after the other usually. I mean, I guess we can do that by here doing create scope graph and then end scope. But do we need to do that? I mean, we can, right? Doesn't really matter. How does that actually currently look like? God, totally forgot how one of those graphs actually looks in data. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore, that graph. Perfect. So let's see, render graphs. Let's just objects one after another in an array. Alright. mean, I guess that's fine. Maybe I swear. Maybe. Maybe we do that. Maybe we do that. I mean, let's. We still need to enter that scope, right? So we do that and rewrite that. And then we enter here. Scope data. But only if we actually have stuff. Then we enter scope here again. Then we do this. This. We don't. I mean, basically we add that scope already, maybe? Maybe we already add that scope. How do we... Hold on. I mean, we don't really have that, right? Or maybe... Well, actually in the shader graph we might have it. Or maybe even in the shader graph we don't. No, I think actually in the shader graph we might have that. Is it this? Yeah. Okay, we have the data here. But why do we do that? Oh, because we serialized this struct stuff before. Right, and then the node is already gone basically at that point. So we serialize the data afterwards. But couldn't we? Oh, but I don't know the data type. Nah. That is a little bit shit. Not gonna lie. Because I don't think I can do the STD any serialization. So we basically create that scope. And then we add... Yeah, I think we have to do it like that. And then we serialize that. And then we do 2 end scopes basically. Which is a little bit disgusting, but what can you do? Maybe I find a better way to do that, but for now I think that's fine. There might be a better way how to solve that. But it's the thing that we don't really have the pin data per se. So I think it has to be like that. Ah. Yes. Now we have here node graph, out graph. So basically that is gone. And then all right, we basically do here a serializer. Well, actually, we probably have to do something very similar to that one here. Where we basically do kind of that. So out node graph is that. And then we have a graph. So here we enter the scope. Now we basically end the scope here. Then here we get deserializer, get item count, and then we do that in a for. Maybe we don't even need... I could maybe do that differently. If I do a for loop or something like that. But like if I expose like an iterator. Maybe that makes actually the most sense to do in the hindsight, but create scope I. Then we end the scope and basically we get the type ID. From the deserializer. Then we create the node. Which we don't have here. Which is a problem. But let's just assume that we have it. Then we get that. Let's actually have it here. Out node graph, node factory, and then the deserializer here. Okay. So we do that, that. Then we have the node here and we say deserializer read node. So that would be this. Right, yeah. That would be all of that. And then for the node in here, basically create that scope again. So we do that. We add that to the edges. Then we basically create that scope. So we create that one, then if we created that one, we create that scope. And then we read. Well, actually, we can just. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. It might be more sophisticated than that, so. Basically, say that. Pin deserialize. But why do we do it like that? Why do we write that? So I do get that, but why do we write it as a data object out? How did that work? Maybe we will not be able to finish that today. Kinda didn't think how much work that might be. Okay, but pin data JSON. And we serialize into that pin data JSON. But where do we do that? Let's and then pin.h probably. The serialize. If it's the same as that, then we do that, and then here. Ah. Yeah, okay, that's garbage. Let's not do that. Let's actually just say, or we create that and then that's just that. Nope, sorry. That is the deserializer here, right? Or we just do that. Because I don't think we can easily deserialize the constant pin data from an STD any. But we can do that. Right, and then here, which is where it just says serialize to that with a constant pin data. Yeah, that makes the most sense. We could we could have that. Maybe we do that. Can that help? Maybe. It doesn't really do a lot. Pin base. Pin. Pin. let's do that. Let's do that. And then here the only thing we do is pin serialize. Ah, but we don't have the data here. Yeah, okay. Can't do that. Because we need custom data here. So that doesn't really help. Okay. So we have to keep it like that, and we have to basically keep it like that. And I don't think that makes too much sense in hindsight to have it like that. So we will bring back the serialize again. Now this is a const node graph. We don't need a node factory here. It's basically that. We'll get rid of that. And here. That is mostly because we don't really have a way to find the factory unless we have the factory as part of the type, but I don't really like that. We don't need that. Don't need that anymore. And in theory, we don't even need that. Add forward declare. Node on node graph. And we can get rid of that. Now we can just include that here. Okay, well, that's node graph. Then we have here node. Pin base. That's that. Now we have the deserialize here, which does that. Out node graph and place. Deserializer in scope. Yep. Oh, wait. Yeah, no. Debates, right? Yes, like that, but we need to end the scope exactly again. And then here we need to enter the scope. We enter that scope. Then we end that scope and that scope. And that scope. Do that. It's a pain, not gonna lie. I might rewrite that. Might rewrite that actually. Let's do that. Let's remove that. Go over all the nodes here. Then we end that scope. We do that. So that's the graph structure. And then we get the data here. Where we basically iterate over all the data stuff. Well, we probably can just do a hash map, right? Because reading an SCTN, it should be fine. Because I should be able to... Maybe not. Maybe not. Pin deserialize. Oh, we get a JSON and okay, yeah. Then maybe not, but we can do the get item count and stuff like that. Basically we do a for Onyx EU32i. Then we need to do the same as in the map basically, so serializer. We enter the scope. Right. Yeah, we enter the scope and now we get the identifier. So we do deserializer, create scope at I, and then we say get scope identifier. Which is definitely a pain. Maybe if we do that. Different. What if we actually don't do it like that? I mean, we might keep that. But yeah, I think I want to do a for each or something like that approach. Where you basically get out the identifier and I mean, you can't get out the value right away, but the identifier we can, right? And then you can get the value from that. Well, I mean, we can for now do that. Just so that we get stuff done. Should definitely move them back. But yeah, I want to basically get that out of the way. So we get the scope identifier as here as a string, right? And then we basically convert that back. We are not actually that interested in the identifier. Hold on, we are actually not interested in that, so we don't actually care about that. Because I just enter the scope, do that, and end the scope. Because the pin ID I have anyways. Oh no, not in this case, right? God damn it. So that's why I wanted the pin ID. Yeah, god damn it. I see. Unfortunate. Although, maybe we can do a U64. Doesn't really work right for JSON, but didn't be everything? No, I guess not. But yeah, that would be nice, right? Because now I can iterate over that data like that. Oh, but I don't have the pin. Oh, but I can get the pin, never mind. I can say out node graph, get in by ID, and then we give it the global ID. Then we have our pin here. Pin base. That would work. And then we can end the scope here, leave that, and we're done. Don't think we need that done. Return true. More or less, that works. Basically, I have that as a scope identifier. And we have to go with 64. Or that. I think we have to JSON anyways. Right, so when we do here, go with 64. What we do is we basically convert that out, similar to what we do here somewhere, because I'm pretty sure we already do that. Yeah. Basically that. So that is our current scope name. Might work. All right. So where did we call that now? Shader graph. Serializer maybe? And then here, serializer, right? That, which goes here, which goes here, which goes here, which goes here. Oh wait. Okay, now that's fine, right? And this is the node graph, which we don't even have. Ah. Serializer. That's that, and that's that, and then this is gone. Hmm. Serialize. Oh, that one needs to be const. Perfect. Now we do that, and we forward that serializer just in case. And then here we have serializer again. Deserializer. All right. More or less works. Ah. Okay, and then this is output pin index. All right. Not really engaging the stream today, but it's a lot of monkey work, unfortunately. Fixing a lot of errors here and there. Could not convert all of the arguments. Well. What? Where do you not want to convert that? Read ID. Oh, because we don't have the GUID 64 yet. Yes. So how do we... The string ID... Oh, we had like one, right? So then we need the GUID 64. We just need a... string ID... struct like that. GUID 64, got that. Is there a mutex here? Oh, because we have a... Oh, we have a mutex here. Okay, yeah. Fine. Oh yeah, we have that already. Good, that's nice. Because then we can add that there. Because that makes it nicer in terms of serializer. Now we basically take the same... Oh, well, actually, I think it's easier than that, right? Serializer. So here we need to include that, of course. Here we need to include Onyx serialization. Right. Oh, why did that not work? Perfect. So now it works, and then here we write. Do we need to? No, we can just do a write, I think. ID get base 16 and serializer read. And this is where this is basically that. Don't accept 2 arguments. Did I not do that? Here it is. Where is your problem? How did we not do that? Okay. Okay, so now we have it. Oh, what is that? Alright, but I think I will soon call it a day. Hmm? But that should work now. God damn it. We should have that. Do read. Oh, but hold on, what? That is a read with the ID here. Shouldn't that go? Oh, did I do that wrong? Right goes to right with a name and an out value. Yeah, I think I did that wrong. I think that should go to read with the string view and an out value. Right. Probably that should be it. I think that was a mistake. And we probably didn't run into that yet because we didn't have that kind of thing. Dynamic pin, yeah, that doesn't work. Serializer. And then this takes a serializer here. We need to rewrite all of those. Or do we? Doesn't it now actually just work if I do serializer? Right value? Right? And here as well. Basically deserializer. And here deserializer, read data. Isn't that enough? I think that might be good enough. That would be very good if that works. Because that would basically get rid of a lot of boilerplate that we had. So then here that's the same, right? So we got the serializer. And that's serializer right value. And then here again serializer, deserializer. I mean, that would be kinda insane if that works. Huh? Oh. Serializer. Like that, and then here is where serializer, deserializer. So that one is right that. And that one is read that. All right. That should return something, yeah. Good. And then here we can do as well that here. Oh my god, stop it. All right. Yeah, we still fail a bunch of times. do write ambiguous car. I don't really understand that one yet, so let's not. Where would you be ambiguous from? Oh, because we don't have the floating points, right? So we should add them now. F32, F64. We should add them for sure here, and then we do the do read as well. F32, F32. And node or JSON serializer. Have to add them as well. That one and that one. That one and that one. Then we go back here. And yeah, we basically take those two. F32, F64. No, that's not what I wanted, because we don't support that. F32, F64. We need more than that, right? We should have the one with the name as well. Like that. And like that. Actually, let's do that. Have them down here, have those down here. Now we have those. Perfect. And then we do that as well, right? So we have those. And for the read as well. Not with the base. Alright. And then we need those there as well. In the base. So that's that, that's that, and then here we do this, and we do that. Perfect. We should as well add actually a bool, right? We don't have a bool yet. God damn it. Bool out value. Bool out value. And do right. Bool value. Bool value. That should do it. Now we add those as well, right? Where is my JSON thing here? Bool read. And right. And then we have here do right. No, that's not it. Wait, why is that const? That shouldn't be const. Are they really marked? Why did I mark them as const? Alright. That should do that trick. So we have bool, we have float. We don't have vectors yet, but shouldn't be too hard to add. Sample texture, serializer. Yeah, I'm not doing that much longer today actually. I think I will call it a day now. And we will continue this tomorrow. I was naively thinking I can finish that today, but that was, in hindsight, not gonna happen. Oh god. Right, texture ID, get. Okay, that's fine. I guess we will do a specific to do add asset ID serializer, but the rest is fine. And this is serializer. Do we actually need that? I don't think so, but whatever. It's definitely not bad to call that. Deserializer. Deserializer read. And we should have that as well, like that. Because that's actually what we would prefer. Let's do one more fix and then we head off. Yeah, I should have probably not done the most complicated one right away. Because yeah, all of those node graphs are kinda tricky. And if they don't work, we will have a big problem. Render graph shaded node. Do we... Oh, because we do actually have that as an override. Okay. Alright, so yeah, serializer. Okay. Now we have here serializer, deserializer. Okay, wait. Wait, hold on. That actually is kinda easy, I think. Serialize. Well, we need to write the things, right? But that should just be a write m output attachment infos. Should get rid of all of that. And then probably a serializer write output buffer infos. Should get rid of all of that. And that's it. And then the theme should be here. So that's deserializer read output attachment infos. And that should get rid of that. And then we do, well, actually of that. And then we do the same output buffers like that, and that should get rid of all of that. And we will do that tomorrow. Alright, thank you very much for joining me today. It was somewhat painful, slow stream today, but yeah, as I said, that is kinda expected. Oh, that one is probably pretty easy as well. Yeah. So we will do that. We will add all of that. I think we still have a bunch of errors, but that is the good thing, that once we've converted everything to the new serializer, we can swap the data format, and that's the cool thing about it. All right. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. We do an early stream tomorrow, probably around lunchtime. Thank you. Have a great night, and bye bye.